I also want to tell you Tony's story this morning. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Andrew.
Good to have you on. You might have heard Tony in the news at 7 with Kirsten. But by your own admission, Tony, there's all sorts gone on in your life that you look back on with some regret. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's been a hopeless kind of story, really. Drug addiction, alcoholism, crime, and I couldn't see a way out. And
how did this begin? And what sort of age did things start going the wrong way for you?
I've always had a struggle with authority, and I suppose from the age of 12 and experiencing the loss of my father, I found that hard to cope with and deal with. And by way of coping, I found alcohol and drugs.
And as quite a young lad, how did you come across alcohol and drugs as a means to try and deal with the problems you were facing?
Well, alcohol initially is widely socially acceptable, and back then alcoholism wasn't really a thing. It was socially everywhere, like literally everywhere. So
easy to come across, easy to get hooked on.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you mentioned that your addictions led you to commit crime. What sort of thing?
Initially, it was drugs. So got caught up in using cannabis, and then started selling cannabis. And as I progressed on to harder drugs, the crime escalated. To thieving, stealing, and burglaries, commercial burglaries.
What led you to change things in your life?
I'd had enough, really. I'd had a lot of attempts at treatment. I'd had a lot of prison sentences. Nothing worked. It got to the point of drugs that I'd used to manage. They were the solution, the coping strategy for difficult situations and feelings. They no longer worked.
Yeah.
So I'd kept drinking, kept using drugs, and it didn't work.
Harder and harder, though, even if you can rationalise that in your mind. No, this stuff isn't helping. It's the problem rather than the solution. Hard to then go, and I'm going to change it.
Yeah, and most things like having a child, losing jobs, like all the consequences or things, especially my child, I thought that would be enough to make me stop, and it wasn't. I couldn't, not in my own power.
So what was the moment that changed things for you?
Judge Ross had sentenced me before on a couple of occasions, and this time he gave me an opportunity that he hadn't given me before. I think my desperation was visible, but I really did want to change, just didn't know how to.
This is Judge Peter Ross, who, as you say, had sentenced you, and you're now working together on a new charity. Let's have a listen to what Judge Peter Ross has had to say.
How many judges will walk alongside someone that they sent to prison and have conversations as two mature adults talking in friendly terms about the past, the present, and the possibilities of the future? We have to have a means of moving people on to safe, secure, supported housing where their recovery can continue. And after all, 95% of all acquisitive crime, burglaries, thefts, etc., in the UK has drugs and alcohol addiction lying behind it. If we can get people away from drugs and alcohol, help them on the road to recovery, they won't be offending.
So that's Judge Peter Ross, who'd sentenced you, Tony, but you're now working with. Tell us a bit more about Hope and Vision, which is the charity that you and Peter and others have set up.
Yeah, so coming through treatment myself and coming towards the end of treatment, I sort of identified a need through my own anxiety of moving on with somewhere to live as a crucial point to potentially relapsing back into using and into crime, because obviously those difficult feelings that I turned to drugs and alcohol. So I had the idea sort of to continue with a housing project to help other people like me, and relationships and environment has been key to recovery. And those have been developed over the 2 years I've been in treatment, and that's what's kept me clean. That's what's kept me straight. So for that to continue was really important.
There'll be a lot of people who are on different stages, I suppose, of similar journeys to what you've been on, Tony. The charity that we just underlined is called Hope and Vision. We've got the contact information here. The idea is to provide safe accommodation for people who are at different stages along the drug addiction journey. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us, Tony. I wish you well, not only in your own life, but with the efforts you're making to help others. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having me.
Hope and Vision is the name of the organisation. We've got the information here for you.